Bind off all stitches until you have one stitch on the right needle and one stitch on the left needle. If you bind off all stitches as knits, or if you bind off in pattern and the last stitch is a knit, then insert the tip of the right needle from the bottom up under the horizontal strand that runs at the bottom of the last stitch, like this. This strand is the top of the stitch from the previous row, and it will be at the back of the stitch. Then place the strand on the left needle and knit the stitch and the picked up strand together. You can do it with the yarn in your right hand or yarn in your left hand, doesn't make any difference at all. And then pass the second stitch from the tip of the right needle over the first one to bind off one stitch. Cut the yarn and pass the tail through the last loop and pull tight to secure. When you bind off stitches in pattern and the last stitch is a purl, as is often the case with ribbing, then bring the yarn to the front of the work and slip the last stitch from the left needle to the right needle. Do it purl-wise to avoid twisting the stitch, like this. Then insert the tip of the left needle from the bottom up under the horizontal strand that sits at the bottom of the last stitch. That is the slipped stitch, which is now the first stitch from the tip of the right needle. We go like this, under that strand. And then slip the last stitch back to the left needle. Then we simply purl the last stitch and the picked up strand together. You can do it if you hold yarn in your right hand or in your left hand, doesn't make any difference at all. And finally we pass the second stitch from the tip of the right needle over the first one to bind off the last stitch. Then we make the last loop bigger and pass the yarn tail through that last loop and pull tight to secure. This little trick forms a perfectly neat corner regardless whether the last stitch was a purl stitch or a knit stitch. See, in both cases we get a nice lovely corner, which looks much better than the corner that we usually get when we bind off stitches without doing anything special to the last stitch. This is the corner we get when we bind off stitches as knits, when the last stitch is a knit, and this is the corner we get when we bind off stitches in pattern and the last stitch is a purl. See, in both cases the corner is kind of raised up, and that happens because the last stitch is sticking out, and we easily fix this issue by knitting or purling the last stitch together with the stitch from the previous row. If you find this tutorial helpful, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to be notified every time I publish a new video. Happy knitting, my friend. I'll talk to you in the next tutorial.